The scorching Lagos sun beat down mercilessly as 17-year-old Yuju scrubbed the concrete floor of her aunt's mansion. For the third time that day, sweat dripped from her dark skin onto the tiles she'd already cleaned twice, but Etna's whistle had summoned her again with its sharp, cruel sound that echoed through the house like a slave master's call. "Yuju, this floor is still dirty." Na's voice boomed from the parlor, her heavy footsteps thundering across the marble as she inspected every corner. With the fury of a woman possessed, at 45, Na was a formidable woman with broad shoulders and piercing eyes that could cut through steel. Her natural hair was always perfectly styled, her expensive wrapper and jewelry displaying the wealth she'd inherited from her late husband. Yuju, thin from years of inadequate meals and endless labor, looked up with exhausted eyes. Her once bright spirit had been crushed under 13 years of servitude since her mother's death, while her 19-year-old cousin Chidera lounged in the air-conditioned sitting room, her curvaceous figure draped in the latest fashion, scrolling through her iPhone and laughing at TikTok videos. Yuju's hands bled from the harsh chemicals she used to clean. "You're useless," Na screamed, her dark face contorting with rage as she grabbed Yuju's slender arm with brutal force. "Look at this mess. Chidera would never leave such sloppy work." Chidera, tall and confident with her perfectly braided hair and manicured nails, smirked from the doorway. Her light brown eyes sparkled with malicious joy as she watched her mother berate her cousin. "Mommy, don't waste your energy on her. Some people are just born to serve," she said, her voice dripping with contempt as she filed her nails. The chaos erupted when Na discovered muddy footprints on the freshly mopped floor. "Who did this?" she roared, her voice shaking the windows. Yuju trembled, knowing she'd be blamed regardless of the truth. It was probably her dirty feet. Chidera accused, pointing a perfectly manicured finger at Yuju's bare, cracked feet. "She never wears slippers properly." Na's hand flew across Yuju's face with a resounding slap that echoed through the house. Like a gunshot, Yuju's head snapped to the side, her cheek burning. But she didn't cry. Years of abuse had taught her that tears only made things worse. "Clean it again. And if I see one speck of dirt, you'll sleep outside with the dogs," Na commanded, her chest heaving with fury. As Yuju knelt once more to scrub the floor, her reflection stared back at her from the soapy water, a broken girl with hollow cheeks and defeated eyes. But deep inside, something was stirring, a rage, so pure and desperate that it threatened to consume everything in its path. The house fell silent except for the sound of scrubbing, and Chidera's mocking laughter echoing from the next room. The next morning brought fresh hell as Na prepared for her trip to the village. The chaos began before dawn when she stormed into the cramped storage room, where Yuju slept on a thin mat, her powerful frame filling the doorway like an avenging spirit. "Get up, you lazy goat." Na's voice boomed through the house, causing even the neighbors' dogs to bark in response. She threw a crumpled paper at Yuju's face, a list of chores written in her sharp handwriting that seemed to go on forever. Yuju sat up slowly, her dark skin glistening with sweat from the airless room. At 17, she should have been in university like other girls her age, but instead, she was trapped in this nightmare that seemed to have no end. Wash every curtain in this house, mop twice, clean all windows inside and out, scrub every toilet, until they shine, and cook enough food to last 3 days, Na commanded, her eyes burning with sadistic pleasure. "And Chidera will be watching you." Chidera emerged from her bedroom like a queen, her tall frame draped in a silk nightgown, her braided hair perfectly arranged even in the morning. Her light brown skin glowed from expensive skincare products while Yuju's was ashy from neglect. "Don't worry, Mommy," Chidera purred, her voice sweet as honey but eyes cold as ice. "I'll make sure she doesn't rest for even 1 second." The moment Na's Mercedes disappeared down the street, chaos erupted. Chidera transformed from a pampered princess into a tyrannical monster, following Yuju from room to room like a predator. "Stalking prey, move faster, servant girl," Chidera screamed, her voice echoing through the mansion as she watched Yuju struggle with the heavy curtains. "You think this is a hotel? Work." When Yuju paused to wipe sweat from her forehead, Chidera grabbed a glass of water and poured it on the freshly mopped floor. "Oops, clean it again." The torture continued for hours. Chidera deliberately knocked over plants, scattered papers, and even threw food on the ground just to watch Yuju clean it up. Her laughter was cruel and sharp, cutting through the air like broken glass. By afternoon, Yuju was on the verge of collapse. Her thin frame shook with exhaustion, her hands raw and bleeding from the harsh cleaning chemicals. But Chidera wasn't finished. "Why are you so slow?" Chidera shrieked, her face twisted with fury as she watched Yuju scrub the bathroom floor on her hands and knees. "Are you stupid or just lazy?" Yuju continued working in silence, her jaw clenched tight, fighting back words that could destroy her. That's when Chidera made her fatal mistake. Crack. The slap rang out like thunder, Chidera's palm connecting with Yuju's cheek with such force that it sent her sprawling across the wet bathroom floor. The pain was sharp and humiliating, but it was the last straw. Something snapped inside Yuju like a dam bursting. "I wish you would just die." The words exploded from her lips with such raw hatred that even Chidera stepped back in shock. The house fell deadly silent. The silence that followed Yuju's outburst was deafening, broken only by the sound of both girls' heavy breathing. Chidera's eyes widened in shock, then narrowed into dangerous slits as a cruel smile spread across her face. "What did you just say?" "To me," Chidera whispered, her voice deadly calm as she pulled out her phone. "Did you just wish death on me?" Yuju's heart hammered against her chest as she realized the magnitude of what she'd done. Her dark skin had gone ashen with fear, but the words were already out there, hanging in the air like a curse. I didn't mean," Yuju started, but Chidera cut her off with manic laughter. "Oh, you meant it all right." Chidera cackled, her voice echoing through the mansion like a witch's curse. "Wait until Mommy hears about this. She'll kill you before you even think about touching me." That evening, chaos reigned in the house. Chidera spent hours on the phone, her voice carrying through the walls as she called friends, telling them about Yuju's death threat. Her laughter was sharp and cruel, each giggle like a nail being driven into Yuju's coffin. "Can you believe this girl wished me dead?" Chidera shrieked into her phone, loud enough for Yuju to hear from the kitchen. "She's so jealous of me that she wants me to die." Yuju sat on the cold kitchen floor, her thin frame trembling with fear and exhaustion. The house felt like it was closing in on her, every shadow seeming to mock her predicament. She knew Na would return the next day, and there would be hell to pay. Sleep didn't come that night. Yuju lay on her thin mat, staring at the ceiling as she listened to Chidera's movements upstairs. Around midnight, she heard the front door creak open and footsteps on the stairs. Chidera was sneaking out, something she did regularly though, not pretended not to know about her daughter's wild nightlife. Hours passed. The house was eerily quiet. When dawn broke, Yuju decided to face her fate. She would apologize to Chidera, beg for mercy, do whatever it took to avoid Na's wrath. She climbed the stairs slowly, each step feeling like she was walking to her execution. "Chidera?" she called softly, knocking on the bedroom door. No answer. Yuju pushed the door open slowly, and her world collapsed. Chidera lay motionless on her bed, her once beautiful face now pale and lifeless. Her braided hair was spread across the pillow like a dark halo, and her body was still. "Chidera!" Yuju screamed, rushing to the bed and shaking her cousin's lifeless form. The skin was cold, so cold it felt like ice against Yuju's trembling hands. "I didn't mean it," she cried, tears streaming down her face as she tried desperately to wake the dead girl. "I didn't mean it. Please wake up." That's when she heard the key turning in the front door. Na was home. "Yuju, what is all this noise?" Na's voice boomed from downstairs, her heavy footsteps thundering up the stairs like an approaching storm. Yuju stood frozen in the doorway, her hands shaking, tears streaming down her face as she whispered, "I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it." Na appeared in the doorway and saw her daughter's lifeless body. Her scream shattered the morning air. The chaos that erupted was beyond anything Yuju had ever experienced. Na's anguished screams brought neighbors running from every direction, their faces a mixture of curiosity and horror, as they crowded into the mansion that had once been a symbol of prosperity. My baby," Na wailed, her powerful frame shaking as she cradled Chidera's lifeless body. Her perfectly styled hair was now disheveled, her expensive wrapper torn as she rocked back and forth in grief. She killed her, Na screamed, pointing an accusing finger at Yuju, who stood trembling in the corner. This witch killed my daughter. The neighbors, mostly middle-aged women with their own grievances against the proud Na family, seized the moment. Like vultures circling prey, Mrs. Adana, a petty traitor with gap teeth and a sharp tongue, pushed forward. We heard her yesterday, she declared dramatically, her voice carrying over the chaos. She was screaming that she wished Chidera would die. Murderer, another neighbor shouted. And soon the room filled with accusatory voices, fingers pointing at Yuju like spears aimed at her heart. When the police arrived, the scene was pure bedlam. Officers struggled to control the crowd as Na continued her theatrical display of grief, demanding justice for her murdered daughter. Yuju was handcuffed and dragged away like a common criminal, her thin frame dwarfed by the burly officers. The neighbors followed, shouting curses and throwing stones at the police van as it disappeared down the street. Prison was a nightmare beyond imagination. Kirikiri Maximum Security Prison housed Nigeria's most dangerous criminals, and Yuju, barely 18 and innocent, was thrown into this pit of despair. The other inmates, hardened by years of violence and crime, saw fresh meat in the terrified girl. That's when Shadi intervened. At 42, Shadi was a legend in the prison, tall and imposing with tribal marks on her dark cheeks and eyes that could freeze blood. She commanded respect through fear and wisdom. Her story was whispered in hushed tones. A wealthy politician's daughter who had killed her own father after years of unspeakable abuse. That girl is under my protection, Shadi announced in her deep, authoritative voice, and the entire cell block fell silent. Under Shadi's wing, Yuju found not just safety, but hope. Shadi listened to her story with the patience of a mother and the wisdom of someone who understood injustice intimately. The system failed you, child, Shadi said one night, her scarred hands gentle as she braided Yuju's hair. But I won't let them destroy you. Using her extensive network of lawyers and contacts, Shadi orchestrated a masterpiece of investigation. Her legal team uncovered the truth that Na had desperately hidden: Chidera's drug addiction. Security footage from nearby houses showed Chidera returning home that night, clearly intoxicated and stumbling. The autopsy results were damning: massive drug overdose. No signs of violence. Text messages on Chidera's phone revealed her final hours, begging her dealer for something stronger, complaining about feeling sick, and finally, silence. The courtroom drama was explosive. Na, once proud and powerful, sat broken and exposed as evidence mounted against her false accusations. The judge, a stern woman with no patience for lies, declared Yuju innocent with a bang of her gavel that echoed like thunder. This young woman has suffered enough, the judge proclaimed. She is free to go. But Shadi's final gift was the greatest. Before her own execution, she made Yuju guardian of her 12-year-old daughter, Bimbo. Along with properties worth millions, Yuju walked out of prison not as a broken victim, but as a survivor with purpose. She enrolled Bimbo in the finest schools, gave her the childhood neither she nor Shadi had enjoyed, and built a life filled with love and laughter. Meanwhile, Na lived alone in her empty mansion, abandoned by friends and family, haunted by her daughter's memory and the innocent girl she had tried to destroy. Karma, it seemed, had perfect timing.